This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 23rd day of January in the year 2024. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. 1 week after he declared that there will be no amnesty period for illegal firearms and holders of illegal firearms should just throw them into the compound of police stations, Home Affairs Minister Robeson Ben today told the National Assembly that the government intends to increase the fines and penalties for persons nabbed with illegal firearms. While offering his support of Budget 2024 and the billions of dollars allocated for the security sector, Minister Ben said there are a number of initiatives that will be introduced to curb the crime situation in the country.
If you have an illegal firearm, we will fine you. We'll increase fines in relation to that. We'll increase fines in relation to road deaths, in relation to issues related to bad traffic work. We believe if you have a firearm, turn it in. Don't set us up for us to pay for you to get money in relation to handing in a firearm, and then we don't know necessarily the lineage, what it was done with it, and we will give you money for it. Amnesty is for another time in relation to firearms.
Opposition Member of Parliament Kemraj Ramjatan, who is a former public security minister, told the National Assembly during his budget presentation that the government has no real plan to address the crime situation. He said with all of the resources being channeled to the sector, there should be better results. But Minister Ben told the National Assembly that there have been results. He said serious crimes are on the decline, while admitting that murders and gun crimes have been on the increase.
In Guyana, in spite of all the bad things you see happening, it is true that murders increase. It is true that we have an increase in domestic murders. It is true that we have disorderly murders, which are creating a great burden of the police force and the communities which they secure. But overall, crime continues to drop the decline under the PPPC in government.
The Home Affairs Minister said the government's Safe Community Initiative is bearing fruit, and there is now more collaboration between the police and the communities they serve. And turning his attention to the Guyana Fire Service, the Home Affairs Minister noted that more than 4,000 calls were placed at the fire stations across the country last year in relation to fires. He said the threat to private and public properties, along with businesses, due to fire is insurmountable. He said persons need to be more cautious.
And so the overall question of fire safety is a particularly important one for us. We are investing more and more in relation to fire protection. We are buying new vehicles, water carriers. We are buying a new fireboat in relation to the amount of work and the response thereto being done on the harbor in Demerara and for other places. We are looking at putting in place new fire stations. We have just completed one at Wales, and we anticipate looking at more fire station emplacements.
And as it relates to the Guyana Prison Service, the Minister of Home Affairs said there will be increased monitoring and security at all prison locations this year. More news coming up in just a moment.
My lord, I just love to shop in this store. My customers, them gonna love all these things. So many different things in one place. Household items, electronics, toys, stationery, confectionery, exercise equipment, shoes and clothes for men, women and children, school things, costume, jewelry, perfume, makeup. Oh, look the makeup!
Giftland Office Max, Guyana's favorite department store.
Thursday, February 22nd.
We're heading to the biggest wet fed of MASH
Splash-O-Mani 2024
at the Guyana National Stadium.
Enough water, pulse, enough soca.
The night before the holiday.
Soca star Problem Child. Ola Tunji. Splash-O-Mani, the official wet fed of MASH 2024.
Problem Child,
Ola Tunji and more to be added.
come, let's soak you down in water and soca.
Early bird tickets 3,000.
Brought to you by Hits and Jams Entertainment.
It's your time to win big. The Massey Store's Christmas jackpot promotion is back and bigger than before. Spend $5,000 at any Massey Stores to be the lucky winner of a brand new MGZS and fantastic weekly store prizes from now until January 31st, 2024. What are you waiting for? Head to your nearest Massey Stores to shop now. See our Facebook and Instagram pages for more details. Massey Stores, our family serving your family.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true, or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Bust the flavors. We're full of flavors. Bust the flavors that me crave for. We're full of flavors. Tell your neighbors about the bust the flavors. Grab a bust the flavors. Yeah, thirst buster. Grab a buster. Bust the flavor, taste the savor. Bust the flavors. Bust the flavors.
Well, opposition Member of Parliament Camaraj Ramjatan today said this year will be a difficult one for Guyanese due to the continuous rise in the cost of living, with little intervention by the government in this year's national budget. Opening this morning's budget debates, the AFC leaders said ordinary Guyanese are finding it difficult to survive, while the state of poverty is not being addressed.
It is a sickening situation, and we are not seeing that poverty is being confronted. As I have said on other occasions, necessitous, and quoting from, I think it was President Roosevelt, necessitous men are not free men. People who can't afford 2 square meals in Guyana are not going to be free. And all flourishing is mutual, because poverty anywhere is a threat to prosperity everywhere.
The opposition Member of Parliament said there is enough space in the budget to put more money into the pockets of citizens, pointing out that more than half of the budget is dedicated to infrastructure in various forms. He said the government must show the will to confront poverty now before things get out of hand.
But a nation must invest in ending poverty. And its working poor must get a better deal. I feel, and this is my opinion, that has not happened with a budget. Could we not be interrupted? It is important then that we feel that this monies should have been more spread across rather than being given largely to what I regard as 1,000 contractor crony capitalists who will benefit from that $662 billion, which is what is the capital expenditure.
Well, the AFC leaders said it is important that the country does not find itself in a situation where it is embarrassed, since poverty and shame induce shame and embarrassment. Mr. Ramjatan said he has been visiting many areas across the country, and there is a unified cry from citizens who feel that they have been abandoned by the government. He said the country now has a paradigm shift that demands consensus between the government and the opposition to deal with the challenges such as poverty.
I don't know if we're going to have that. because as a matter of fact, we feel that these people, controligarchs is the word, they do not want to be persuaded by any argument that comes from the other side. We need, in relation to this matter, sir, a leadership which cultivates an ethic of genuine care, compassion, and concern for every human being.
And the Alliance for Change leader said there should also be a more balanced approach in the distribution of budgetary funds. He called on the government to have a better monitoring system in place for government projects. He said many projects are running behind schedule, while the same defaulting contractors are being gifted with more contracts. Turning our attention now to the courts, Linden resident Shaquan Allen, also known as Is We Boss, appeared in court this morning before Linden magistrate Wanda Fortune, charged with the murder of his girlfriend, Shauna Dover. Allen made a virtual court appearance from Georgetown and was not required to enter a plea to the indictable murder charge. He was remanded to jail until the 27th of February, when the case will be called again for a report from the prosecution. In court today, the unrepresented 24-year-old accused told the court that he is the father of a 4-month-old child and was previously charged in 2018 for narcotics. However, he stated that the charge was dismissed. He provided his address as Block 22, Wisma Linden. The prosecutor in the case, Vernet Pindar Whitaker, told the court that an investigation is on the way in relation to the firearm that was used to commit the crime, and she's expecting a ballistics report soon. She said one person who allegedly bought the weapon is already in custody, while investigators are pursuing another suspect in relation to the same weapon. The prosecutor also told the court that in addition to the charge of narcotics, the accused was also previously charged with causing grievous bodily harm. But that matter was discontinued after the virtual complainant in that case opted to be compensated. Allen was arrested in Suriname last week and returned to Guyana under heavy security. He was on the run since April of 2021, when the body of his girlfriend, 21-year-old Shauna Dover, was found buried in a shallow grave in his backyard at Wisma Linden. A statement from the girlfriend's teenage sister led investigators to that body, but by that time the accused has already left the country. Over the past 2 years, local investigators received multiple reports of the man being spotted in neighboring Suriname and French Guyana. Last Wednesday, the Surinamese authorities informed local police of his arrest, and he was brought over to Guyana on Friday. The Guyana police force in a statement indicated that during interrogation, the accused admitted to the murder, but also implicated a 15-year-old sister of the dead woman in disposing of the body. The teenage girl is already facing a charge of accessory to murder. The murder of 21-year-old Shauna Dover grabbed national headlines back in 2021. She was first reported missing by the same boyfriend, Shaquan Allen, who initially led search efforts with the woman's family members for several days before the body was found buried in his backyard. The two lived together at Wisma in Linden.
Twice the fun, twice the thrill. On your next trip with Copa Airlines, stop over in Panama and enjoy 2 vacations in one at no additional airfare. Because to live life at its fullest, first you have to stop. So next time you fly Copa Airlines, stop over in Panama at no additional airfare.
Stock the finest in the country, both ceramic and porcelain, tiles and chandeliers you'll see while you shop around stress-free. Well-trained staff and warming halls make your shopping smooth and calm, providing you with quality to match your style is so unique. Mima Decor.
Look at the breathtaking beauty of the Essequibo, from its pristine rivers to its abundant resources. It's a treasure that belongs to Guyana, and we ask Venezuela to respect the rule of international law.
Our commitment to this land is not just about ownership. It's about preserving its beauty and resources for our people and future generations.
The controversy between Guyana and Venezuela was settled internationally as full, perfect, and final in 1899. Essequibo belongs to Guyana.
Now let's head back to the budget debates. Opposition Member of Parliament Amanza Walton Desir today put forward a 5-point proposal to address the deficiencies within the country's foreign policy, telling the National Assembly that it is unacceptable that Guyana to date has not appointed an ambassador to Brazil and is still without high-level representation in Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Russia, Switzerland, Belgium, Kuwait, the United Arab Emirates, and Suriname, at a time when Venezuela is forging ties with those near and far. As the national budget debates continued, MP Walton Desir said now more than ever, Guyana needs a sober, steady, and well-studied approach to its foreign policy as it advances its position on the world stage as a petro-state and responds to the ever-looming threat to its territorial integrity. She made a case for the government to identify and effectively articulate Guyana's foreign policy, particularly in the context of the protection of its sovereignty and territorial integrity. MP Walton Desir said while a foreign policy is intended to promote the national interests of the state, including the preservation of the country's sovereignty and territorial integrity, she is not convinced that the government is aware of that fact.
I am not convinced, however, that this government is persuaded of this fact, because if they were, Mr. Speaker, concurrently with the proceedings before the ICJ, there would have been a sustained effort to keep this matter of Venezuela's spurious claim on the forefront of all of our endeavors. It would have permeated every speech that we give. It would permeate every presentation that we make internationally, and we would be actively building alliances with groupings and states that could lend support to us. Mr. Speaker, this just-in-time and for-the-moment approach has to stop.
Walton Desir told the House that the protection of Guyana's territorial integrity requires perpetual vigilance, as she referenced the recent case of the surfacing of a photograph with the Prime Minister of St. Vincent, Ralph Gonzalez, standing with a map of Venezuela, which included Guyana's Essequibo region. The Foreign Ministry, she said, ought to have been in the know. While underscoring the importance of having in place a well-thought-out and well-articulated foreign policy, MP Walton Desir made a case for the establishment of a Foreign Relations Council. Turning attention to her second proposal, she said there is an urgent need for the country to reshape and enhance its relationship with other CARICOM states.
Mr. Speaker, it has to be recalled as well that it was in response to Guyana's strength and stature in CARICOM that Venezuela established a foreign policy position to disrupt Guyana's influence and relationships within CARICOM, and these resulted in initiatives such as the Petro-Caribe. Mr. Speaker, we strongly recommend that without delay, we have envoys actively working in the capitals of CARICOM member states, representing our interests and providing regular feedback to Tacuba Lodge. Guyana must never, Mr. Speaker, have to urge unequivocal statements of support from CARICOM leaders.
The opposition parliamentarian said it is also regrettable that the High Commission in Trinidad and Tobago, which was established under the David Granger government, has now been downgraded to a consulate. Noting that it is important for Guyana to strengthen ties with countries like Trinidad and Tobago, MP Walton Desir told the House it was her view that the deficient Argyle Declaration is the reflection of a failure of a continuous engagement with CARICOM.
And whilst Guyana welcomes the undertaking by Venezuela not to use force against Guyana, it must be noted, sir, that as we speak, Venezuela is proceeding with the passage of their organic law for the defense of what they call the Guyana Essequibo. Indirect violation of this Argyle Agreement. Where is the outrage? Mr. Speaker, Venezuela continues to distribute maps with our Essequibo including it, and there is deafening silence.
Meanwhile, while addressing the absence of astute diplomacy, she pointed to the absence of an ambassador in Brazil, Guyana's strongest continental ally. To compound the situation, she said the country has no missions in Africa, with the exception of South Africa, while Venezuela is courting African states individually and collectively. Further, she noted that since the removal of Charandas Prasad, a new High Commissioner to India has not been appointed. The Member of Parliament also spoke about the importance of education and training and the development of the country's international diplomatic corps and the need to monitor international migration into Guyana with particular emphasis on the impact of the Venezuelan migrant crisis. Turning our attention now to the education sector, Minister of Education Priya Manik Chand and Opposition Member of Parliament Coretta MacDonald, who's the General Secretary of the Guyana Teachers Union, clashed last evening in the National Assembly over the state of the country's education sector. Taking the podium just seconds after MacDonald's presentation, the Minister of Education told the Assembly that 13% of this year's budget is being allocated to the education sector. Minister Manik Chand said Guyana has been making progress in the areas of education and health, adding that the numbers do not lie.
That investment repeatedly over the years, sir, has moved us from 30% of our children being able to access secondary education in 1992 to 78% when we left office in 2015. And unfortunately, when we came back in 2015, the same 78% because you didn't build a single secondary school in this country.
The Education Minister said the former APNU AFC government was unable to complete the construction of a single secondary school building while in office. She said since returning to office, thousands of seats are being made available to accommodate more students. She said this year government intends to build a number of schools in the hinterland communities as well as the coastland. In total, the government proposes to spend $28.7 billion on the construction, rehabilitation, and maintenance of school buildings. The Education Minister said due to the investments in education, the country is seeing noticeable improvements in the sector, with improved performances recorded both in the hinterland as well as on the coast.
And then let's take the hinterland. Ishalton, pass rate moved from 22% to 67%. Anai, the pass rate moved from 19% to 58%. Sand Creek, the pass rate moved from 15% to 60%. This is measurable. And when we talk about these numbers, we mean more people, more children passed. More children are going to be able to access opportunities and thrive in this build out that we're building in Guyana.
Minister Manik Chand said teachers are benefiting now from better salaries, allowances, and benefits. She said, for example, teachers who are 52 years and older will receive duty-free concessions. The Education Minister also defended investments in the Gold Program amid growing criticism that the online program is receiving an almost identical subvention to the University of Guyana of $4 billion.
And Mr. Speaker, this gold scholarship offered so far 21,442 Guyanese people. Black, Indian, Amerindian, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, male, female, from the coastland, from the hinterland, opportunities to study. And they are studying, and they are graduates of the program. And then there is GROW. And I want to talk quickly about GROW. GROW is a program done on the goal, which allows people who dropped out from school or didn't get a chance to finish school, perhaps because of your poor management in the 5 years, want now to be able to enter a university.
But Opposition Member of Parliament Coretta MacDonald told the National Assembly that it is unacceptable that the University of Guyana's funding is now equal to that of the Academy of Learning that is under direct political direction. The opposition MP said now is the time to transform the University of Guyana into a world-class institution. But instead of investing heavily in that, the government, she said, has sought to fund an online academy.
There is no monitoring and evaluation of the Gold Scholarship Program. Our research has uncovered major issues with the Gold Program. Nobody knows where the ranking.
Further, she accused the government of politicizing the education ministry and by extension, the sector, a situation she noted does not augur well for the country and that has resulted in underperformance in critical subjects.
55% of our students at the secondary level are failing English A. Mr. Speaker, 37 students are failing mathematics at the grade 4, are passing mathematics at the grade 4 level, 37%, while 63 of them are failing mathematics. This data is dismal. And despite the razzle and dazzle of a few high achievers and cutting the ribbons for brand new buildings, education still remains in crisis.
MP MacDonald said instead of advancing the sector, the education minister continues to peddle false narratives about the coalition's time in office. Chief among them, she said, is a suggestion that the coalition did not start or complete a single secondary school. According to MacDonald, the PP civic government is simply rebuilding schools that were mysteriously destroyed by fire since it took office.
Are you looking to start or advance your career with one or more of our world-class associate, bachelor, or master's degrees in 14 specializations from the comfort of your home worldwide? Then look no further than the University of Excellence Management in Business, UEMB. We are affordable, accessible, flexible, multi-world class, internationally accredited and locally recognized by NAC Guyana as a tertiary degree granting college. For more details on our no strings attached 60% scholarship and our payment plan, please call 225-1395, 225-1397-9, 681-3434 or 618-3434. Visit our administrative office in the Critchlow Labour College Front Building, Wolford Avenue, Georgetown, Guyana. Progressing to a degree is as easy as ABC with UEMB. Deal with the best and forget the rest.
Imported frozen meat and food products, fresh produce and pet supplies, freshly made bread. Rotisserie chicken and patties are also available daily. Shop in comfort today at Food Max and let our courteous staff assist you in satisfying your shopping needs. Food Max, the fresh food specialist.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Look who's in the mix now. The new Buster Soda Water. 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 artificial flavors. 100% refreshing. Taste Buster Soda Water today. Buster Soda Water. Now available for only $120.
With your regional and international news tonight, I'm Svetlana Marshall in the region. UNAIDS has welcomed Jamaica's expansion of protections against gender-based violence as the country's Domestic Violence Amendment Act came into effect on Monday, CMC said in a report. UNAIDS said it welcomed the commitments made by Jamaica to expand protections to tackle gender-based violence. It said determined action is essential across the Caribbean and Latin America and across the world to break the vicious cycle of violence, abuse, and inequality. Survivors must be heard and justice must be done, the UNAIDS Executive Director emphasized. The government said the Domestic Violence Amendment Act 2023 will provide greater protection to victims of domestic violence. Jamaica's Gender Affairs Minister Olivia Green said the government and the House have demonstrated their commitment to preventing and punishing acts of domestic violence through the passage of several important amendments, which will, among other things, allow the court to issue protection orders and impose a penalty of up to $1 million for a breach of a protection order, up from a maximum of 10,000 Jamaican dollars. She said the amendment also allows for a sentence of up to 1 year in prison and that the protection orders are intended to guard against an array of potential harm from harassment to property damage. Monday was the end of an era in the Caribbean aviation as Liat 1974 conducted its final flights. The airline's sole aircraft, an ATR 42600, left the VC Bird International Airport in Antigua on Monday, where it began Liat's final sectors across the Eastern Caribbean. In a social media post, the airline said it was a bittersweet day as it thanked all those who would have supported it until the end of this chapter. Stops to Dominica, Grenada, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines were on the cards for Liat 1974's farewell tour. Antigua and Barbuda state broadcaster ABS Television reported the last Liat 1974 flight touched down at the VC Bird International Airport last evening, where it received a water salute. Liat 1974 ceased all operations on January 22. In a letter to staff in late December 2023, Cleveland Seaford, Liat's court-appointed administrator, said all employees would be made redundant effective February 4, 2024. And finally tonight, international news. 24 Israeli soldiers were killed in Israel's worst day of losses in Gaza, the military said on Tuesday, as it claimed to have encircled southern Gaza's main city in a major ground assault. According to Reuters, a spokesman, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, said 21 soldiers were killed when two buildings they had mined for demolition exploded after militants fired at a nearby tank. Earlier, 3 soldiers were reportedly killed in a separate attack in southern Gaza. The deaths came amid the heaviest fight of 2024 so far, as the Israeli Defense Forces stormed remaining parts of Khan Yunis, the main city in the south of the enclave sheltering hundreds of thousands of displaced Palestinians. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.